Assalamu alaikum students, how are you? I am Lubna Sabzwari again with a new topic today, communication skills. And students, this topic is equally important for zoology and mathematics student, so both of you should focus on this topic. What is communication? Communication is the exchange of information by speaking, writing or by using other medium. It is more than just talking. Communication is interaction between two persons that serves a higher purpose. Now, communication is more than just talking. When we talk, we convey our message, our information, our thoughts to others. But communication is more than just talking. It is to make the other person realize or understand the message. Communication is defined as the process of sharing facts, ideas, opinions, thoughts and information through speech, writing, gestures or symbols between two or more persons. Elements of communication. Communication process includes the following elements: sender, receiver, encoding, decoding. Sender. Sender is a person who encodes and sends message. Encodes means write the message, put words into message. Receiver is the person who decodes the message. Encoding is the process of converting the message into words, actions or other forms that the speaker understands. Other form means non-verbal communication. Decoding. Decoding is the process of interpreting, explaining, giving meanings to the message. Interpreting the encoded message of the speaker by the receiver. Receiver decodes the message given by the sender. It means that he makes sense of the message given by the sender. Next element is message. Message is the subject matter of communication. It may contain facts, ideas, feelings or thoughts. Channel. Channel is the medium or the means such as personal or non-personal, verbal or non-verbal, in which the encoded message is conveyed. Feedback. Feedback is the receiver's response or reaction or reply to the message which is directed towards the sender. Context. Context is the environment where communication takes place. Environment, atmosphere, situation. Barrier are the factors that affect the flow of communication. Barrier, hindrance, obstacles. Students, इन तमाम elements को explain करने के लिए मैं आपको एक living example दूंगी. कल का ही वाक़या है, मैं parents को call कर रही थी ताकि वो अपने students को Google Classroom में शामिल करवाएं. वो स्टूडेंट्स जो अभी तक गूगल क्लासरूम ज्वाइन नहीं कर पाए थे, मैं पेरेंट्स को कन्विंस करना चाहती थी. मैंने एक फ़ादर को फ़ोन किया और उन्हें जो है पूरा मैसेज कन्वे किया अबाउट द इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ ज्वाइनिंग गूगल क्लासरूम एंड कंपल्शन फ्रॉम द कॉलेज. हर चीज़ के बारे में मैंने उन्हें ब्रीफ किया. एट द एंड ऑफ माई मैसेज उन्होंने सिर्फ इतना कहा कि मैम प्लीज़ सराइकी में उन्होंने कहा कि मैम सराइकी में बात कीजिए, मुझे उर्दू की समझ नहीं आती है. और इत्तफ़ाक़ से ज़ाती तौर पे मुझे सराइकी समझ तो आती है लेकिन मुझे सराइकी बोलनी नहीं आती. अब अगर आप देखिए तो सारा कम्युनिकेशन प्रोसेस यहाँ पर फ्लॉप हो गया. दिस इज़ द बैरियर. हेयर इज़ द बैरियर ऑफ लैंग्वेज. ये फ्लो शीट है, मैं इसे आपको एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ. कल जब मैंने अभी आपको जो वाक़या बताया उस हिसाब से सेंडर्स इवेंट आई डिस्क्राइब टू यू. आई वॉज द सेंडर. आई सेंड द मैसेज टू द रिसीवर. रिसीवर इज़ द फादर ऑफ दैट स्टूडेंट. एंड कॉन्टेक्स्ट. कॉन्टेक्स्ट मीन्स सिचुएशन, एटमॉस्फेयर. क्या एटमॉस्फेयर था कि मुझे जो है उन्हें कन्विंस करना था कि उनकी बेटी जो है गूगल क्लासरूम ज्वाइन करे. मैसेज क्या था? इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ ज्वाइनिंग गूगल क्लासरूम. मीडियम टेलीफोनिक, आई वॉज कॉलिंग ऑन हिम ऑन मोबाइल. एंड फीडबैक. फीडबैक जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा कि ड्यू टू द बैरियर, लैंग्वेज बैरियर, नो फीडबैक केम. क्योंकि जो है उन्हें बात ही समझ नहीं आई. बात समझ आती तो मुझे फीडबैक मिलता. तो जनाब यहाँ पर मैं आपको डिफरेंस बताऊँ. हेयर लाइज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन प्रेजेंटेशन विच आई डिस्कस्ड इन द प्रीवियस लेक्चर एंड द कम्युनिकेशन. Presentation is one way process. You just present your message, you just convey your idea. keeping in mind the audience and all the other factors which I discussed in the previous lecture. As far as communication is the two-way process, the message which is sent by the sender, it must be understood by the receiver and the feedback should be given to the sender. Types of communication. Following are various types of communication: internal communication, external communication, formal communication, informal communication, verbal communication, non-verbal communication. Internal communication further has three subtypes: downward communication, upward communication, horizontal communication. Internal communication. Internal means inside the organization. It is the communication which flows from one person or part of an organization to another person of the same organization or part of same organization. It has the following kinds: downward communication, downward from upward to downward. At upward status, your bosses, your officials, senior officials, your superiors, and at downward positions are the subordinates. It is the communication which flows from superiors, from high ups to the subordinates. It may be in the form of instructions, orders, advice or information. Your bosses, your high ups always gives instructions, orders, advice or information to the subordinates. Upward communication. It is the communication which flows from subordinates to superiors and in the form of statements, summaries, reviews, comments and reports. Horizontal communication. At the same level, this communication takes place between two colleagues or department of the same status, having the same status, same job level. It is also called crosswise communication. Crosswise communication, dialogue communication. External communication. External means outside the organization. External communication involves communication from person or company to a person belong to other company or outside the company. It may be in the form of letters, proposals and reports. It is outside communication. Your audience, your receiver is outside the organization. Next is formal communication. It occurs in formal type of organizational structure. In this communication, status and position of the sender and receiver are important factors. Informal communication. In this communication, status and position are not given much importance. There is no definite pattern. There is no definite style, no definite code of conduct. It may comprise of chats, conversations over tea. The example may be conversation between the family members and the colleagues and friends. Types of communication. Verbal communication. It is a communication which involves the use of words. Whether we write or speak, we use words. It is oral and written communication. Non-verbal communication. Communication without the use of words. Verbal means words. Non-verbal means without words is called non-verbal communication. Communication without the use of words is called non-verbal communication. We express our feelings of happiness, anger, liking, disliking, etc. through the movements of our body and facial expressions, etc. Now, here is a tree for describing various subtypes of communication. Verbal is further divided into oral and written, and non-verbal has following 6 types: body language, kinesics, paralanguage, space or proxemics, time or chronemics, touch or haptics, silence. Verbal communication, oral communication, fastest form of communication, saves time and money, more effective communication system. Gestures, tones and facial expressions make communication more impressive and effective. These are the various benefits of oral communication. Oral communication helps you to allow immediate feedback from the audience. Effectiveness of communication can be measured immediately and conveniently. Helps in improving the motivation of people and generating a sense of participation. Only way out during an emergency, when you don't have much time to deliver written message, you can use oral communication. You have no other chance than using oral communication. For example, an emergency call for immediate action when there is no time for written orders or instructions, that is the moment of a crisis. Written communication. Written communication possesses the quality of getting stored for future references. If you do remember the previous thing, I do explain oral communication. In oral communication, everything is spoken, not written, and obviously there is no record of oral communication, but there is a record for written communication. Written communication is the only way out in such cases where the message is too lengthy and meant for a large number of persons. Written communication gives more time to receiver to think, analyze, and then decide upon the right course of action. Written communication is more orderly. Orderly means in a regular pattern, and it is binding upon the subordinates and their superiors. Obviously, written communication is a proof, it is a written document which can be used in court proceedings. So, subordinates and superiors, they are bound to follow that written communication. Written communication is more orderly. Orderly means in a fixed pattern, and it is binding upon the subordinates and their superiors. Binding means they are bound to follow, because written communication is a document, is a proof. Anyone can challenge it, while oral communication cannot be challenged. Written communication becomes essential to pass on to other correct and accurate information, because it is written in a very systematical way. If you do remember the writing strategies I explained to you, first of all we have to decide the topic, then we have to gather the material, then we have to organize it, then we have to write first draft, and then revise it, then edit it, then proofread it. All these techniques are involved in writing a written message, so it is in a very proper way. Now, non-verbal communication. Following are the subtypes of non-verbal communication. Non-verbal without using words. Kinesics. Kinesics, body movement. These are the sources for conveying non-verbal messages. Kinesics is the study of the role of body movements such as postures, gestures, facial expressions, eye movements in communication. Postures. Postures means your sitting and standing style. How do you sit? How do you stand? Your style is posture. Gestures means your expression with body movements. Facial expression, eye movements. The movements of different parts of the body convey body language. Appearance. Your appearance is the overall view of the body that is presented before the viewer, receiver. And there are two types of appearances: personal appearances of the speaker and appearance of the surroundings in which the speaker is standing. The environment matters a lot. It gives a impression. Paralanguage. Paralanguage includes voice quality, volume variation, pitch variation, speed of speaking and pauses, and the other sounds you may make such as throat clearing and sighing, taking long breaths. स्टूडेंट्स, यहाँ पर आपके इंटरेस्ट को डेवलप करने के लिए और इसको एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए मैं दो लोगों की एग्जांपल दूंगी एंड यू विल एट वंस अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट डज पैरा लैंग्वेज मीन्स. यू हैव लिसन शहजेब खानज़ादा and Suhail Waraich. Just feel the difference. That difference is of para-language, the haughty style of Shahzeb Khanzada and a very plain pitched style of Suhail Waraich. Just see, para-language includes voice quality. Compare the voice quality of both of them. Volume variation up and down of the volume of voice. Pitch variation, high and low. Speed of speaking and pauses and the other sounds you may make such as throat clearing and sighing. Proxemics. Proxemics is the study of space language. Proxemics deals with the distance or space between people as they interact. Space can determine how people feel comfortable while talking with each other. Space language has 4 zones: intimate zone, personal zone, social zone and public zone. Intimate means frankness, closeness. Intimate zone exists with closest friends. It is about 2 feet. Personal zone consists of family members. It is about 2 to 4 feet. Social zone is related to society, depends upon every society. It is about 4 to 12 feet. Public zone is used for public address. It is over 12 feet. Chronomics, time language. Communication conveyed through a sense of time is called chronomics. It involves orderliness, discipline, seriousness of purpose and punctuality. Concept of time is also culture specific. Culture specific, एक एग्जांपल दूंगी. हमारे कल्चर में अगर आप देखिए कहीं से हमें इनविटेशन आता है किसी फंक्शन के लिए, शादी के फंक्शन के लिए, तो हम जब प्लान करते हैं हम कहते हैं एग्जैक्ट टाइम से एटलीस्ट हम आधे घंटे बाद का प्लान करते हैं और वहाँ 1 घंटे देर से पहुँचना हमारे कल्चर स्पेसिफिक है कि हमने कभी भी जो है फंक्शंस पर टाइम पर नहीं पहुंचना होता. ये ओवरऑल एक जो है हमारा ट्रेडिशन है. दूसरा अगर आप देखें बीइंग स्टूडेंट टीचर मैं बात करूं तो जो टाइम लैंग्वेज है इट ऑल्सो गिव्स योर इम्प्रेशन. बहुत से स्टूडेंट्स क्लास में लेट आते हैं, दे आर ऑलवेज लेट कमर, और हमें पता होता है कि ये स्टूडेंट इतना सीरियस नहीं है, जबकि कुछ स्टूडेंट्स जो बहुत सीरियस होते हैं वो टीचर के आने से पहले क्लास में बैठे होते हैं एंड इट एड्स टू देयर गुड इम्प्रेशन. Haptics, language of touch. Touching people can communicate friendship, love, approval, hatred, anger or other feelings. Shaking hands, embracing and patting on the back are also haptic gestures. Haptic means language of touch, related to touch, and I think it's quite clear why we shake hands. क्यों मिलाते हैं हम? हाथ मिलाने से दोस्ती का इजहार होता है, गले मिलने से जो है मोहब्बत का इजहार होता है. Patting to encourage someone, we do pat on his or her shoulder. Silence. Silence is the most important type of non-verbal communication. Sometimes, it becomes more effective than words. It can have positive or negative influence. Sometimes to show our negativity we keep quiet, and sometimes to show our positivity we keep quiet. Silence may be deliberate, intentional message. Refuel, deny, rejection, to communicate. Sign of embarrassment, confusion. Sometimes we do feel embarrassed and suddenly we keep quiet, we keep silence. Agreement, sometimes to show our agreement we do keep quiet, or disagreement or a feedback. That is end from my side, students. Now come to the written assignments. And as far as the previous assignment is concerned, which I gave you in the last lecture, and thank you, so nice of you, you have cooperated a lot. Majority of students have sent their written assignments on Google Classroom. And now the next assignment, and I hope you will submit it by the next Saturday. Discuss in detail non-verbal communication. Long question for 12 marks. What are main elements of communication? Short question for 4 marks. Send handwritten scanned copies of your assignments in Google Classroom. Thank you, students. Take care of you. Allah Hafiz.